vigilant day and night.
Chase your tail light. I'll be under your skin, letting you go for a while. Then I'm taking you in. Your fists like diamonds, glimmer and punch. Shiny predator with a golden gun. Space age girl machine. 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 Space age girl machine.
Welcome back, guys, to Comics and Cosmetics. Normally, you see me do some kind of makeup project while I'm breaking down a character or a storyline or just nerding off about whatever thing I'm obsessing about that week. But luckily enough, I have a guest today that I think you're going to recognize. I'm pretty excited about it. I know that you guys will be. If you have watched The Last of Us, if you have played The Last of Us, you will definitely recognize the man sitting next to me. Ladies and gentlemen, Perry/Tommy, Mr. Jeffrey Pierce.
Hey, everybody.
Jeez. Thank you again, Jeffrey, for coming on the show, taking a few minutes.
It's my pleasure. Anytime I can honor the women and men in hair and makeup, I want to, because they do not get nearly enough credit or shout outs in the community, I think.
I agree with you, and that is pretty much how we met on Twitter. Like, hey, what about hair and makeup? We work so hard.
Yeah, you guys were second in my list.
So I have to ask, because I first saw you because I'm not a gamer myself. If I play games, it's probably The Sims 4, digital dollhouse. But I recognized you from Castle Rock as Alan Pangborn.
Yeah.
And so when I saw you on episode 4 of The Last of Us, you had this beautiful long silver lock. So how long did that take you to grow out?
The hair, I think probably a year and a half. COVID made that possible. Yeah. With COVID, there was no reason to cut it. So I just kind of let it go. The beard took 7 months to get it into sort of like the insane condition that it was in for the shoot.
If I could bottle that ability to grow it like that, I could have retired 10 years ago.
Well, it doesn't look good for the first. It looks good for like the first week, and then it does not look good for like 3 or 4 months, and then finally there's enough that you can shape it that it sort of like goes in the right direction, and do some maintenance for it. But yeah, it is a process.
So I guess, did you know you were going to be stepping into the role of Perry when you were, kind of locked down and growing this out?
It was the first thing that Neil and Craig said when they cast me, like, stop shaving, don't cut your hair, and we'll see you at the beginning of next year. And that was, I think, late July or late June, early July. And so just sort of let it go. And then a year ago, we were up there shooting. So it was a good long stretch to let it sort of find its shape. Because when I'm clean shaven, I don't look like I'm living in the apocalypse.
No.
But the roles that I enjoy more, that I gravitate towards more, are not the ones that are clean shaven and sort of, put together. I can play plenty of cops, but boy, does that get boring after a little while.
Yeah. Quick question. I noticed that you're originally from Colorado, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you grew up in Virginia?
Yeah.
Military brat?
No, no. You
Surprising.
know, I my parents were teachers. My dad was a teacher in DC
Okay.
in the late '60s,
Well,
and
my
then
my boyfriend, when I was kind of explaining to him who you were, because we watched the show together, and he was very impressed by, because he's ex-military, very impressed by the way you carried yourself and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
held your weapons and everything. He's like, "Is he in the military?" I said, "I don't think so." We looked you up, your background. He's like, "Army brat." I said, "I don't know. Maybe we'll find out."
I grew up near Fort Myers, but all of my sort of tactical weapons experiences come from the job. I love working with the armorers. I love working with the experts, and really just sort of like have honed my craft to do that because it's part of what I do in my casting.
Right.
I've had the good fortune to play a lot of Navy SEALs and Special Forces guys and cops and SWAT guys. Run the gamut, and so you get to do all those fun things without ever actually going into hostile territory.
Yeah.
But I take
Um,
it seriously. I mean, you
yeah.
really want the people who know what they're talking about, you want them to watch the work and say, oh, yeah, that guy knew all the details. He's obviously spent the time and effort to honor the process that it takes to actually get good at that. So it's part of what my approach is.
Well, I was an Army wife, active duty for 15 years, and infantry wife,
Mm,
and well, I can tell you right now that the effort and the respect you put into it is very, very appreciated, and it's noticed. So, thank you
yeah,
for that.
yeah.
Um,
I think anything else is lazy.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now, when you were growing all of this out, because we're supposed to be talking about hair and makeup, Danielle, stay on
Yeah.
track. When you were preparing by growing all this out and everything, did the stylist have any tips on how to maintain it and keep it healthy and keep it going?
Well, what we talked about with it when I initially sent pictures, they were like, perfect, just let it go. Because if it looks too well, I mean, there's such a fine line between
Mhm.
like letting it dreadlock and look terrible and have it be manageable, but not sort of stand out as what a wonderful mane of hair. Um, and so the artistry, especially on something like The Last of Us, is how do we make this not distracting, um, and but feel like it's a part and parcel of the entire story and the style, the aesthetic that the overall thing is going for. So, although I mean, for me, I think one of the great, the best way to begin the day is come in, get coffee, go to hair and makeup, and that's where you start to become the character.
Right.
Um, you see it come to life in front of you in the mirror, and that is, I think, one of the most relaxing Zen ways to start the day. And once you're in that space, you go put the wardrobe on and get in through props and everything. And by the end of that process, you're ready to go when they call action. Um, Melanie Linsky said something about the sort of great pleasure of the work is they call action, you fall into this other person's skin, they call cut, and you just get to pop right back out of it.
Off, yeah.
Uh, if you're not worried about hair and makeup and all the things that the crew is making possible, it makes it very easy to do your job. Um, and I mean, it's not, I think, obvious, but we had tons of sort of like sun damage that they put in and damage around the eyes, and they colored my teeth so that they weren't sort of, there was no white pop.
Oh, yeah.
And all the sort of care that goes into that, making that feel like the fabric of the character. You feel the weight of it on your face, and you feel the weight of that life and lifestyle. I mean, I love that entire process. And when there's injury, like damage, black eyes, all of those things help as an actor for you to focus on that as part of the performance. I mean, it's all so interrelated.
Absolutely. I in a small, very small scale way, I get that, because I don't walk around with my red lips and fake lashes on. I'm When this is off, I'm just me. But when I put this on, I'm like, okay, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I got this. I know what I'm talking about. Um, I did they give you a good backstory for Perry, or did that process that you went through kind of help invent that for you to give you that hardened? I mean, because to me, I really felt that Perry was the guy you wanted and you needed in this situation. He had what it took, the knowledge, the what's the word I'm looking for? My brain just farted hard.
Well, the thing
Proficiency. He
I
had the
think,
proficiency and the knowledge, but at the same time, you could tell that Perry had humanity. He had heart. He had a softness and a tenderness, especially for Kathleen.
yeah.
But while you're going through that process in the chair, what brought that for you?
I mean, there was some. They said we want to, like in the script it said it maybe he was ex-military, and that when the bloater came out, Perry goes into a professional mode. So I took that and took the liberty to sort of create my own world behind that. Just given the time frame, I decided that I was like, well, let's say he was in the Marines in 1990, straight out of high school, and
Uh,
then for 5 or 6 years in the Marines, and then he goes for buds and becomes a SEAL, and then he's 6 or 7 years in SEALs, and he goes to the PJs to sort of like he keeps looking for the purpose that's going to fulfill what he feels his sort of code of honor is. And he never quite finds it. And then the end of the world comes, and here's this guy with all of the tools, uh, but no way to put them to use in a way that's satisfying until he finds Kathleen and her brother and finds a cause that he can believe in.
and he
And
found his purpose.
yeah, that's sort of the journey that I wanted to experiment with. And if I was going to have the opportunity to create a character with that much time and detail to think about it, that's exactly what I would have wanted to play.
So obviously, I talked to a lot of nerds, and the consensus across the board seems to be you are an absolute favorite. Perry is a huge favorite character in the show, and I personally felt like the fifth episode was my favorite so far. Your death scene, the bloater when he came out of that hole. When I discovered that was a suit, that
Mm.
that was practical, my mind just kind of went. I mean,
Oh
that
yeah.
was Barry Gower who did that,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and it was Adam Basil in the suit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, I mean, what did that? He comes out like that. Where did your mind go?
Well, Adam is 6'6". I'm not like a small
Oh,
dude, but
no,
Adam is like 6 inches taller than I am.
good lord!
And and he is built like a rugby player. So they put an 80-pound suit on top of that,
Oh my
and he
god!
comes running at you full speed. It has an intensity that you don't have to make up. You're like, I'm just going to stand my ground and wait for him to get here and hope he slows down before he hits me. Um, so it made it very easy, and that suit was unbelievable. I mean, like covered in like grease, Vaseline, so to get the sheen
KY,
to it. Every
yeah.
Yeah, it was something else. And Adam, I don't know if anybody got any video of it, but he would do the Thriller dance on occasion
Oh,
in between takes.
oh man, that's got to get found.
So that was that kept everything nice and light in between setups.
That's
But he's a champ. I mean, that is a hell of a costume to wear. And then they've got a face piece that goes on, so you're
right.
running almost blind with 75 stunt professionals and dancers coming pouring out of that hole with you. So he was dealing with all of the constraints, but also like that suit and the makeup. It gave him everything he needed to play the bloater perfectly. I mean, it's just you can't do that. I mean, there's incredible CGI in the show.
Yes. Yes.
But it's all based on the performances that the stunt people and Adam were giving.
Ugh, it was just beautiful. And, of course, my mind, as soon as I realized that's a suit, like full blown suit, my mind is like, that had to take months to put together.
Yeah.
Like, and what Adam had to go through to get casted and scanned for that.
Oh
Just
yeah.
good for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Just fantastic.
That it is an exercise in courage to get your entire body cast like that. I just like it's intense. I've done a cast before, like torso and head, and that was not a pleasant experience.
I am doing that today. As soon as we're done, this is getting done, and then from my waist down.
Yeah, yeah. You have to be.
Woo!
It is a mental exercise just to be in that cast and patient while it sets. It is
I like to
extraordinary.
think, I raised 4 kids. I can do this.
You got this. Yeah, you got this. All the patience you need, you have manifestly strengthened over that 4-child term. You got this.
So speaking of, my children, I have a almost 21-year-old son named Kessler, and he's a massive fan. He claims an OG Last of Us player,
Nice.
and
The
he
best
sent
kind.
me a he sent me a question. He said, he wanted to know about you voicing Cross in the prototype. Do I have that correct?
Yeah. Oh, that was an interesting one because I had just done Jason Bourne for them. And they called out of the blue and asked me to come and play that part. Um, and it's a real like vocal stretch. This was a
Yeah.
long time ago. But it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was really hard on the voice. It was the first time that I'd really tried to do to really bring like a charactery nature to the voice. But it was a lot of fun.
Oh, he's going to be happy. Because I looked at the message and I said, I don't know what this means. And he says, don't worry about it.
He'll know
Just
what you're
ask.
talking about.
Yeah. Well, I won't hold you up anymore, Jeff. I know you only had a few minutes today, but I just thank you for your service as Perry.
My
It was
pleasure. Thank you.
absolutely thrilling. I mean, when you and Kathleen were in her childhood bedroom talking, I really felt that. Like I
Yeah.
really felt the tenderness and the appreciation you had for her. It was almost like a big brother kind of vibe, that you very well felt protective
Yeah.
of her. And that really came across, so that when your moment came when Adam ripped your head off, I was like, "Oh, shit. No more Perry." Um but
Died with honor,
you were great, and thank you for Alan Pangborn, because okay,
though.
yeah, you did great in that one. Thank
Well, I
you.
get all these incredible women to fall in love with Sissy Spacek, Melanie
Oh
Linsky.
yeah,
What more could I ask for?
nothing, nothing. You're good, man. All right,
Well,
I'll let you go. Nerds, make sure you hit the like and subscribe. You can follow Jeffrey on Twitter, and I will have his information down here. Make sure you check out episode 4 and 5 of The Last of Us, and maybe just finish watching the show because it's a pretty decent show.
oh yeah.
I'm Danny Sansi. He's Jeffrey Pierce, and this has been Comics and Cosmetics.
Take care, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.